it's a 1-hour contest, and it's sponsored by Chess4Unity. And my first challenger is Ethan Yang. And the way this contest works is that there are 2 challengers for each of the 8 organizers, and they get to choose a 3+2 and 10+2 games, and we get to stream on them. And okay, yeah, I'm just streaming this game. So, and we play up to an hour too. So basically, this is opening. I'm not sure what's the name of it, but this knight goes to d5. I'm just gonna kick it away. It's attacking the knight. The only square that's available for the knight is f4, because if it goes to e3, you take it. Here, you take. Anywhere else, you have a way to take it. I'm just gonna keep on attacking the knight because it's pretty annoying. And probably the best way to yeah, he found it, to defend the knight is with the bishop, because if you go with the pawn g3 to protect the knight, I have bishop takes knight, pawn takes bishop, queen there check, and then queen takes pawn, which is pretty decisive. So I'm just gonna develop. Develop is like moving your pieces to squares and such. So, and knight g2 to develop. Maybe go put the knight on g3. I'm just gonna castle. Bishop d2, still developing. I'm just gonna kick the knight away. It blocks out my bishop, but the knight doesn't have any good squares to go. Because if you go h5, I take, g6, I just easily take. Knight e6, it's guarded by a bunch of pieces. If you went knight h3, I could have took with the bishop, and then he will have these ugly double pawns. So probably. And if he goes knight d5, he actually loses a pawn because of it's just like not guarded. So basically, I could just move the bishop. He could defend the pawn. I take with a special rule in chess that's called en passant, and he could take with the knight, and that's basically the best choice he has. But he misses it. Probably c4 was pretty good for him. He's really behind in development. So there goes a pawn. Right now, his best choice is just to develop in castle. Castle is where the king goes over here, the rook goes over here, but there can't be any pieces in the way. And the king can't move already, or the rook. So knight f5 misses this. The bishop is actually guarding this square, so I could just take the knight here. Oh yeah, I forgot to start the timer. Okay. c3, attacking my pawn, but it's already guarded by 3 pieces, so I don't really have to worry about it. My goal is just to keep on developing and with the long-term goal of attacking his king somehow. Queen c2, he could castle, but it also drops the pawn. So I'm just gonna move the rook because I feel like it. Castles, it's a special, as I told you, it's a special move in chess where you can't move the king or the rook before, and there can't be any pieces in the way. So but here it's not such a good move because it loses this A2 pawn, which I could just take. Queen B1 trying to trade queens. I'll just take it. The point is, if I take, it doesn't win a free queen because he can take 2. And I'm just gonna develop my pieces. Bishop there. I'll just take the pawn. If he takes with the pawn, I could actually take this pawn. He takes, and then I take this bishop. And when you calculate that in the head, this pawn's worth 1 point. A bishop is worth somewhere around 3 points, and yeah, 3 points. So I got 1 point. He gets 3 points. Then 3 points. Then I get 3 points too. So 3 plus 1 equals 4. So this is a good move. Rook G1. I'm gonna pin the bishop, which means that if he moves the bishop, I could take the rook. He takes my rook, then I take his rook, and you just get a free rook if he moved the bishop anywhere. So King C1, clever move to defend the bishop without moving it. And if I take, he could take my rook. I could take his rook. Then he takes my rook, and he gets a exchange, which means rook for a bishop, 5 points for 3 points for free. But if I go here, rook takes bishop, and he takes the rook. I have this clever move, bishop G5, pinning the rook and king, and he can't take because his king is like in check, like if he goes there, so he has to protect his rook. Otherwise, I just win it. So I'm just gonna trade. And then if you see all of that, I'm just up a knight and 2 pawns. I mean 3 pawns. So here I'm just going to move my king upwards. And then, oh yeah, when I do this, it's called a pre-move. So it means you can only use pre-move when it's your opponent's turn, and if you can't do it on your turn. And the point is that when they make your move and you're already pre-moved, that means you just use 0.1 seconds making your move. I'm just gonna push my pawn, and if I get all the way here, I get to choose what to make my pawn into. So you can choose to make your pawn into a queen, a rook, a knight, or a bishop. A king is not allowed because that's totally cheating. Just a quick check. He can't take the pawn because he's in check. King takes king c3. It's not attacking the knight because it's guarded, but he is attacking my pawn, so I'm just gonna take him. He's probably gonna take. I'm gonna push my pawn upwards. I can't go anywhere here because he just takes. If he goes here, I could push the pawn. I don't really care if he takes the pawn because if I get my pawn all the way here, I could get a queen, and that's much more valuable than a pawn and a knight. And I got a queen. So now I don't really have to worry about those. I just have to mate. So right here, the mate in 1 is queen b6 checkmate because he doesn't have anywhere to go. So yeah, that's that. I'm gonna send him a rematch because it's a bunch of games. Up to 1 hour. So now I'm just waiting for my opponent to accept my rematch. And then, oh yeah. Okay, since he doesn't see my rematch, I'm just gonna challenge him again. Unrated is the unrated tournament. I mean contest, competition, something like that. So this time I'm white. I'm playing an opening called King's Pawn, and he could go anywhere he wants. Yep, he went for the one I was planning that he will go. It's a basic opening that I still play. It's called Roy Lopez, or it's also called the Spanish. And yeah. Also, just to keep in mind, I played here, but if I took the knight, he takes my bishop. Then I take this pawn. Black has this very cool move called Queen D4, attacking my knight and my pawn. So he's attacking my pawn, but I don't really care because I could always go rook here. Okay, he knows how to play this one, but just so you know, if he takes the pawn, I could play rook here, pinning the knight, and then if he goes d5, I could take. It's pretty hard to show, but you just win the pawn back on e5, this pawn. So he goes bishop c5, and I'm just gonna go c3 to go d4. He goes castles, the one of the two exception chess rules, I guess, to like the king only moving once, and I mean the king moving one square at a time. This is one of those sort of exceptions. So he goes bishop d6. This is probably a mistake because when I take this knight and he takes back with any of those pawns, I could take on e5 with the pawn. So basically, if he takes back with the bishop, then I could go knight takes bishop, and I'm up a piece for a pawn, which is pretty good if you think about it. So I was attacking both his bishop and his knight. So he had to lose one, so he chose losing his knight instead of the bishop. Here, he could take the pawn back. Trade queens. So, after that queen trade, which means like exchanging queens or, you know, giving him a queen, but he gives you a queen back. Here, this is also a small mistake because I could go e5, same concept. I could attack the bishop and the rook. And if he takes the bishop, I could take the rook. So he gets 3 points, I get 5 points, which is pretty good for my side. Rook e6, I'm just going to take the bishop. And he was attacking my bishop, so I had to move it somewhere. So bishop d7, I'm going to attack his bishop with my rook. Rook d8. Okay, I'm gonna play rook d4, rook, and you could always tell which square I'm going to because of these how should I say it, letters and numbers at the top and bottom. So you see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H. First you look at the letter D, and then you look at the number 4. Right? My rook is on D4, but since you have to also state which piece it is. For English, United States Chess Federation, it's a rook is also, you say it as a R. A pawn is a P, or you could just say C. For like you could write it as P, or you know, just write it as the square itself. It's one of those exceptions again. A knight is written as a K, like this knight is at KB1. This rook is at rook A1, so RA1, KB1. The king is also, no, the knight is an NB1, sorry. And the king is a K, so KG1. And the bishop is a B, so bishop is on H6, BH6. Here he is what? That was a mouse slap. I did not mean to go there. That just apparently just loses my rook. Oh my god. That was a dumb mouse slip. And now he is equalized position. That was pretty bad by me. I did not mean to go there. So anyways, 2 pieces for a rook and a pawn is usually pretty good, but it depends which position you're playing at. How did I lose my rook like that? So he's putting the bishop into my game, which I don't think is a really good strategy, because this bishop is actually a pretty good bishop, and I don't think you should trade it for one of my knights here. Oh, F5 is a clever move to attack this bishop, but I'm not going to allow that. Here, since the F6 pawn is not attacking my bishop anymore, I could safely play bishop G5, attacking the rook also. So he moves the rook and he sees what I was trying to do. I'm just going to push one of my pawns because I like to. He moves his rook. I'm just going to move my king. He goes pawn h6, attacking my bishop, which is pretty annoying. So I'm gonna have to move my bishop somewhere. He moves his pawn, but I don't think he should allow, like, my pieces to come in. For example, here, I'm attacking his rook, and I'm attacking his bishop, so he's gonna lose something here. Actually, he doesn't. He's not going to. Because, he can move his bishop away, and I could just take the rook. I mean, he could take my rook if I take his rook. So basically, he could just move his bishop somewhere, and it's all safe for him. But if he moves his rook instead, like there, I could just take the bishop. But this time he's attacking my bishop. But again, I'm attacking his rook with this knight. So I could just take it. Pawn takes. So I'm just going to trade a knight for a bishop. And I'm just getting closer to the endgame so I could just promote and win, I guess. Here I could take a free pawn. Because the pawn is not in any way defended. And I have a threat of rook d4 attacking this pawn and this pawn. He goes here, but I don't really care. I'm just going to attack this pawn and this pawn. He tries to defend this pawn, but this pawn is also under fire. He moves his king. I'm just gonna check. If he moves his king here, I could take the pawn. If he moves it here, yeah, he just moves it there. If he moves it here, I'm just gonna have to find some way to defend that pawn. He attacks my bishop, and my pawn's attacked, so I'm just gonna defend that pawn with my bishop. Get rid of this piece. Okay, he takes my pawn. I'm just gonna give some checks. So basically, he has 4 options to move his king. If he goes here, I could check him and take one of these pawns. He cannot take my rook because my bishop is attacking. My bishop is defending my rook. So he goes into one of these 3 options. They're all pretty bad. This one is the best out of all 3 because if he goes here, I could check and then win the rook. If he goes here, same thing. But if he goes here, he could go here and defend the rook. But this is still bad because it allows me to go into the endgame, which I could just push my pawns and promote to a queen again. So when your pawn gets to here, like your opponent's back rank, then you have four options to promote to: a queen, king, rook. A queen, rook, bishop, and knight. You cannot promote to king because that's kind of let's just say that's pretty hard to win. So here I'm just gonna checkmate his king with a series of checks, hoping by luck to checkmate his king. Here I could just take a free pawn. I'm just gonna take all his pawns, so he has no chance to draw or something weird happens. Now I just have to be careful to not to stalemate, which is his king has no squares to go. And like if I go queen c2 here, it's stalemate because it's his move, and he can't go to any of these three squares because it's attacked by my queen. So he has no move whatsoever, but it's his move. So that's a stalemate, and it's a draw, 0.5 result. But here I have this checkmate, which ends the game easily. Alright, this is the third game we're playing. And I'm gonna play King's Pawn opening. I'm gonna play something called the Petrov, which is he takes my pawn, I attack his knight, and then I take his pawn. He moves his bishop, I'm just gonna take his pawn. He's attacking my pawn, so I have to do something about it. I have this move which blocks out his bishop, so he can't attack my pawn anymore. He moves his bishop away. I'm just gonna attack his knight. If he moves the knight away, I could do something called a discover check. I move my knight, but he can't take it because he's in check, and I'm attacking his queen. Which if he moves his knight and I go here, I just win his queen, which is pretty unfortunate. He finds a clever move, f3, and the point is, if I move my knight, he has a queen e2 defending the knight, and then I can't use my pen against him because if I go f6, he could always move his knight away, and that's just a queen, and he takes my queen, which doesn't give me any benefit. So I'm just gonna check him. If he goes king e2 or king f1, I have checkmate. So his only move is just to go g3, which he doesn't here. So basically, he's attacking my knight. He's attacking my queen. I have to lose something, right? Well, to be honest, I don't. I could take this pawn, and you might think, but the knight's attacked. The pawn's defending that pawn. But apparently, when he takes my knight, I could go queen takes rook. And that's a rook for a knight and pawn, which is a pretty good trade, I guess, in my opinion. He moves his knight away, but this is not very good because I could just, to be honest, I could just take the knight. No counterplay. Here, this is just game over because I could just take that rook, and then it's a discover check because he's in check, but I just took something. I moved my knight away. So if he went king e3 or king f1, I both have this lovely move, queen f2 checkmate, which just ends the game. So this is the third round of this contest. I'm just gonna I'm gonna play a new opening. I don't even know what's this called. I don't play this opening. It's just fun to try out. So basically, he played the same thing as black as I did with white, but he played something different. I'm gonna go for a interesting line with knight g5, attacking his pawn. He has a pretty good move, d5, which attacks my pawn. I mean bishop and my pawn. He goes queen e7, missing d5. d5 was the only move that gives him any counterplay, and I could choose taking the pawn with my knight or with my bishop. I'm gonna take with my knight because it attacks the rook. So his only move is to go rook g8. And now I'm just gonna move my knight again. I'm attacking his rook again. He probably has to go back, which I don't think favors him. So he goes h6, attacking my knight, but I'm just gonna take the rook. But before I do, I'm just gonna put a check. If he takes the bishop, I can just take the queen. So his only move is king d8, which kind of saves him, but he goes queen takes bishop instead. This move allows me to just take the queen. They take the knight, and a queen for a bishop and knight is like 9 points for 3 and 3. So 9 points for 6 points, which I think knight is greater than 6 if I'm if I'm good at math. And he attacked my queen. If I took the bishop, he could take my queen, which is losing for me. So I attacked the bishop with this pawn, and he can't take because it's guarded by like 4 different pieces. And he took my pawn, I take his pawn. If he takes that pawn, I can take his knight, which is pretty good for me. So he found this move to attack my rook. I'm not gonna care about. Actually, I'm just gonna save my rook. I was thinking about something to go like e5 or d5 to attack the knights, but it probably isn't worth it because he'll get a rook and I'll get a knight, which is 5 for 3, and 5 is greater than 3. Now I'm just gonna develop my pieces. Just quickly change the timer because he has to go to the restroom. I just say okay. There's nothing really I can do about it because of the time, but that's that. How do I close it? There. And I'm just gonna go back to my normal big screen. Just gonna wait for him to make his move. So basically his king is out in the open. His rooks are misplaced. His bishop, I don't know what it's doing. They're still in its original spot. Well, I can't say because my bishop is also, misplaced. But anyways, I'm up 4 points. I'm up a queen for 2 pieces, and I'm also up a pawn. So it's pretty good for me. Here I'm just gonna attack his knight. He has a bunch of choices where to go. He can't go here because my queen is apparently attacking there. So he goes knight e5. I'm gonna attack his knight again. Right now his best choice is go knight d3, attacking the rook and attacking the bishop. And I don't really care about the bishop because it's misplaced, and I could always take back with the rook. He takes the pawn, which is kind of poison because this is a pin. I'm attacking the knight. He can't move the knight because I'm gonna be attacking the king. So he has to defend the knight, and the only way to do that is to play g5. He finds it, but I have this move which attacks the knight, and I don't really care if I lose a knight for a pawn. He finds a cool move, knight e5, that is actually, I miscalculated. I'm just gonna move my queen. He has this move, knight g4, attacking my rook and my queen, so he wins the exchange. But his knight is still pinned. He goes knight d3, which is pretty surprising because I could take. And if he takes back with the bishop, I could take his knight. And that's 2 pieces for a rook, which is 3 plus 3 equals 6. He gets 5, so he gets 5 points, and I get 6 points, which favors me once again. And I take the pawn, but it's also with check, which is I guess a bonus because he has to move his king, and I don't think he likes that very much. So here I'm just gonna check him, check that black's king. He has to go one of these 3 squares, or he could defend it with the rook. Block it. He goes here. And right now I could just take the bishop. Yeah, I'm just gonna take the bishop. Keep it simple. He moves his bishop to attack my queen. I'm just gonna move it away. He puts the bishop here, which looks pretty good, but I'm just gonna invade with my knight. He can't take the knight right now because I'm gonna check him because he was in check. I'm gonna just take the rook because my knight is defending it, and that's just mate. I'm gonna send him a rematch. And, well, another game. So, I'm gonna play a opening called the Sicilian Defense. You know what? I'm gonna try something new, something crazier. I'm just gonna get my rook out. It's not anything that amazing. It's just kind of cool to try out, I guess. After I get some pieces out. So I'm getting my rook out, my master plan. and it's probably not going to end up well, but yeah. Wait, I just blocked my rook. Well, never mind then. None of that playing with rook g5 and stuff. We're just gonna play normal chess now. Develop my pieces first. He's attacking my rook. I'm gonna make it move back. Oh, and my pawn is under attack, but he didn't see it. Again, my pawn's under attack. And that's pretty sad. Oh no. Wow, what happened? Okay, so this is the reason not to play sometimes so clumsy. I have to lose a rook for a piece, which is not favorable. And this is kinda not so happy for me. He is attacking my queen, and I can't take it because he can take it back with the knight. So I'm just gonna move my queen somewhere. He's checking me. Gonna take the bishop back. And he just moves his knight back. I'm just gonna bring out my knight. He plays queen there. I'm gonna go here to attack his bishop, his very pretty annoying bishop. Okay, he moves his bishop, and now I'm just gonna move my rook now. Yeah. Okay, he moves his pawn, but I could just take it. Because if he takes the bishop, I could take his rook. So that's a little mistake by him. He plays castles inside. I'm just gonna take another pawn because I was down in material, so I'm just trying to take as many pawns as possible. Now I have a clever move, check here, and then if he moves his king, I could take this knight, which is unguarded. And this is actually pretty good for me now. I'm just gonna take some pieces. He could take the pawn, which I guess is actually it's still pretty good for him if he takes, but he takes this pawn instead, and this time I have a chance to defend that pawn. Now I'm gonna move my bishop out of the way because that bishop is kind of not doing anything, so I'm gonna give it a roll. And also I'm opening up a line for my rook b8, which is going to have a really good idea of attacking b2. And I'm gonna go on with my idea of attacking b2. He finds one of the only moves to defend, queen c1 here. And Just trying to think of a way to checkmate him, but I guess there isn't any idea to do that, so I'm just gonna attack this place. That little queen, which is getting on my nerves. He plays rook d1 to defend my clever idea of taking this pawn. So, like, he can't take with the pawn because I am going to take his queen. If I take here, he takes back. I could take his queen, but it still doesn't work. We have two pieces attacking on d3, the d3 pawn. So I'm just gonna, I can still take it, and it doesn't harm me much. He takes back, knight takes rook. He can't take the knight. He could check me though. I'm just gonna move my king back. He can't really take because I'm just gonna take his queen. He takes back. I'm gonna take his rook. And also, if he moves his queen anywhere else, I could take on b2 checkmate. See, if he plays any queen move, including this move, I have this move, and which ends the game. Could play one more game. We could probably end that game in 10 minutes. So I'm just gonna challenge him again. How do I do that? Rematch, yeah. And I'm white this time. And I'm gonna go for king's pawn opening. This time I'm gonna go for, yeah, same thing as last time. Like, you know, the bishop c4 and knight f3 type of move to go knight g5. And he stops that, but the e5 pawn is under attack. And he doesn't have any queen e4 moves to attack the knight and pawn. Though he does have a queen e7 move, but the f7 pawn just gives way. He plays knight, takes this pawn, but this is not very good. I'm just gonna check him and take that pawn. And then I'm just gonna get my queen onto an attack. The king does not look very happy on that square. He plays pawn here, which I guess is a pretty good move, but I'm still gonna attack his knight with my pawn. He moves it, I'm gonna take it. I don't really care if. And I could just take the queen. Though I did have mate, but I missed that. And then I have a mate on 1 queen e4. And that's game 6. I forgot to update my score, so I'm gonna do that very quickly. And I'm gonna tell him 1 more is fine. We have that much time. Just gonna wait for him to accept my challenge. Now let me see what he's. And I'm just gonna wait for him to accept my challenge. He's not accepting the game challenge, so I'm just gonna send it to him again. It's EY Chess4, and then I'm gonna challenge him back again. Yeah, and there we go. So I'm attacking his pawn. He guarded it, and now I'm gonna go for D5 ideas. And this is the last game of my stream. I'll be ending it after this game. And yeah, he checked me. I do not want to move my king because I want to castle, get my king to safety under these pawns. So I just blocked the bishop, and if he takes, I could just take back. He checked again, and I can't move my king anywhere, so I have to block. With what? My bishop or my queen? I prefer my bishop because I wanted to keep the queens on the board. This is another mistake because, again, I could attack his bishop and his knight just for a pawn's worth. Now I'm just going to develop my pieces, develop. It's one of the ways to play good chess. If you don't have any active pieces, how are you going to attack in some cases? So I'm gonna go here, attacking his queen and his knight, he doesn't want to move his queen anywhere to like here I have this check move. He could block, and I'm gonna ping him again, but he missed that blocky move, so he loses another piece, which is pretty unfortunate. He attacks my queen. I'm gonna move the queen back, and then I'm gonna start moving my pieces. If he takes the bishop, I could go knight takes c3 check. You might be wondering, what if he just takes the knight, but the queen's under check, so he can't do that. So I could just take the queen, and then take this pawn, check him again, check him again, and now I'm just up a queen and a rook and a few pawns. No, equal pawn. Wait, actually I'm up one pawn now, but this is easily winning. So I'm just gonna track him. And then just wait. And that's it of my stream. Thank you for watching, to any of you who are watching. And the final score is 7-0. Thank you to my opponent for participating, and well, goodbye. That's the end of my stream.